Harry.
In 1,000 feet, use the right 2 lanes to keep right.
It's Wednesday, June 23, 2021. How you doing, guys? Thanks so much for being a part of this coaching conversation today. This is Prepare to Go There, and I'm convinced it's the most overlooked and underrated conversation on the internet. Now, that's my opinion, but the reason I say that is because I'm convinced that your future and my future deserve our focus today. It's not just that it's some, crying baby that is helpless and needs attention. There's value in parenting a human, but I'm saying that crying potential future of yours, it's got a lot to offer, and it's gonna become amazing. And so don't think of this time as a nuisance or an annoying interruption to your day, man. Let's lean in. Let's be excited about how awesome our future is becoming, and let's really prepare to go there. I think we're gonna go to some really exciting places. We're going really, honestly, somewhere that few people will go, and that's into the work, into the preparation that's going to lead us straight to our future. So thank you for being a part of this. My name is Peter, and I've had the privilege of leading really, I think, thousands of people, mostly young adults and teenagers, into an entirely new way of life that helps them keep going and keep growing for the rest of their lives. And I'm super thankful just to take the things I've experienced and pay it forward. I'm not a guru by any means. I don't have all the answers, but I do know one thing, and I know how to find a way, to find the way that every person can finally and forever get past their past and finally get going with a meaningful life's work that not only you can, be thankful for, be proud of, but a life's work that will leave a legacy that others want to be a part of. And so that's why I'm here. I'm here to find a few more pioneers, a few more people who want to go the distance and make a difference, who want to lead themselves and lead by example. I'm here to help you focus on your future. because everything else is getting our attention. But maybe this one thing where it really counts. I heard a quote today that 60, I think it's like 60 billion with a B messages, media messages are going out every day in the world. 60 billion media messages. That's insane when you think about it. And so, of course, we need to focus on things that really matter, and our future really does matter. So let's pull together. Let's X out all the tabs and let's really lock in. Let's get ready to think. Let's get ready to work. Let's get ready to commit. Let's not lean back with hesitation, but let's lean forward, ready to go. And let's get that future, that big, bright, inviting, exciting future. And let's get it off the back burner. Let's put it back on the front burner where it belongs. And let's stay fired up so that way we can figure out where we're going again. And then we can get on with the work at hand. And I think that's what it takes. I have found that most people, they really don't know how to lead others, the people they care about, the people that they serve, or the people that they want to influence. And they really don't know how to lead them into a better future. And the answer is simply because they don't know how to lead themselves there first. They can talk about the future. They can, tell others, hey, go in there and do that and it'll be awesome. But leaders go first. And pioneers are the kind of leaders that go first and are forgotten for a while. And then they come back with solutions, and they come back with a better way. They come back with, new ways of thinking, new ways of living, new ways of doing things that are reliable, trustworthy, and helpful. So that's what we get to be a part of today. I want to kind of dive in with a quote I found for you today. Walt Disney, the legend, said, "You can design and create. You can build the most wonderful place in the world, but it takes people to make the dream a reality." I want to be one of those kind of people. I want to be one of those kind of people that can make the dreams a reality. The kind of people who can go the distance, make a difference. The kind of people who actually know what leadership looks like because they are doing it every day, not at arm's length, not at a distance, but they're actually owning the opportunities and they're leading themselves well. I'm inspired by this. I think we need to talk about it more. And so that's what this coaching journey is all about. It's an invitation for leaders and friends alike. Just keep showing up. Just keep listening. You can listen to 2 minutes at a time, 20 minutes at a time, the whole thing. You say, why are you doing this? Why are you going so long? Why don't you put it on YouTube or somewhere else? Because this conversation requires participation. It's not something you take on casually. And for this stage of the journey, I want to just put in the reps, and I want to just keep showing up, and I want to get that 1% better every day. And I want to find the people that really can resonate with this conversation first, so that way we can go further together. And so maybe you found, this on Instagram. That's cool. Maybe you already know a little bit about me and what we're doing here in this project, but just know that I'm for you. I'm rooting for you. I'm just want to just be an encourager and equip you with some practical, tactical lifestyle approaches and strategies that will help you prepare for the future. So I want to invite you, if you're like, man, that's me, I want to go for that future frontier. I know it's intimidating, but I'm willing to go for it. I want to give you a gift that can help you take action immediately, massive action today. And that is getting your fail-proof planning guide. Have you gotten it yet? I keep talking about it. I want you to get it, and just share your email and you can download it instantly. It's more than just a fragile, flimsy plan. A plan can only hold up for so long and under so many conditions. But how do you take a future? How do you take on a future that is unpredictable and then, go for it in a way where it becomes unforgettable? This is going to help you. This is going to help you develop your mindset and then pick up a few skill sets that will not just give you one plan, but it'll actually teach you how to plan. It'll give you a fail-proof planning process. And when you go through it step by step and you begin to think through it, now it's not going to give you the answers, but it's going to teach you how to answer clear questions with, real-time context, so that way you can be making better decisions and you can be improving as you go. This is plug and play. It'll help you with day-to-day stuff. It'll help you with more high-level goal setting. My wife, Sarah Joy, and I got to work on this project together. I'm so thankful because she absolutely made it better. And we want to give that to you and say thanks just for listening. All right. Today, leading yourself when no one is looking. I want to start with the question: how many of you would be willing to rate your self-leadership? Like, for real, how is your self-leadership going right now? What would you say? How would you rate it? Maybe you'd put a number on it. Maybe you would describe it with a word. Maybe you would spotlight a certain feeling. Let me give you some options. How's your self-leadership going right now? Maybe you're not really there. Maybe you're not leading yourself yet. And actually, honestly, you're really being led. You're being led along. You're being led along by other people. You're being led along. You're not really making moves. You're just kind of waiting until you are moved into action, until someone speaks up or calls you up, and you're just kind of being led along. Maybe that's you, and that's okay. If you want to admit it, great. Hopefully it'll just bring some awareness. It's good to be led, absolutely. But we don't want to take the burdens that we are responsible for and put them on other people. And it's easy initially, but it'll take you somewhere you don't want to go. You'll lose your sense of empowerment. You'll lose your sense of responsibility. And I don't, that's the whole reason I'm doing this conversation, is to help shake you up, wake you up, and say, what are you waiting for? Because a lot of people are waiting for things that are waiting on them. So maybe you're being led along. How's your self-leadership going? Maybe you're limping along. Maybe you know that it's important to lead yourself. You know it's important to take ownership for your thought life and your actions, your interactions, your reactions. Like, it's good to have some structure in your day. It's good to, be productive. It's good to do those things, but you're doing it. You're just kind of limping along. That's fine. Everyone needs someone. Everyone needs encouragement, accountability, resourcing. That's great. If that's where you are, you need to recognize it and figure out what's the next step. And maybe some of you're in a really good place and you would say your self-leadership is going strong. And you say, yeah, I'm leading myself. But let me ask you this question. Are you at a place where you're leading yourself to such a degree that you are willing to let others learn along with you? Because that's the win. That is the prize, that we could live worthy of our calling, and that we would live in such a way that we can actually become a strength to other people, that we can become a example to other people, that we can become a hope to other people, and they say, wow, they're making it work. I can figure this out too. Hey, they got over that struggle, that anxiety, that depression, that addiction. I can get over that too. They navigated a very complex, very emotionally complicated situation. I could do that too. See, your self-leadership is not even based on yourself, but your self-leadership eventually grows. That's why we're doing self-leadership. It's not just so that way we can focus on us, but it's so that way we don't have to have all the focus. We don't need someone to tell us what to do all the time. We don't need someone to keep us, pat on the back all the time. And obviously we need community, we need encouragement, we need support, but we shouldn't be so addicted to it, so addicted to other people's praise, so allergic to other people's ignoring of us, that we're just content to keep showing up, to keep doing good work, to keep leading ourselves, to keep making progress, because that's who we are now. So I want to just remind you that self-leadership is so important, because it starts with you, but it never ends with you. It never is just about you. I mean, if you caught a view of what you were meant to do, it wouldn't just change you. It wouldn't just change your lifestyle. I believe it would send you charging after that kind of legacy. If you really caught a view of what you were meant to do, if you really caught a view of not who you are, but who you're becoming, you wouldn't sit back on the sidelines and be idle and be despondent and be, lackadaisical and passive or passive aggressive about it. You would go all in. So many people are focusing on what's not happening and what's not working and what's not good, and they don't realize that they have so much more control, so much more ownership, so much more participation. Man, you can make a massive difference, not just in your life, but in other people's lives. And it's not about pulling yourself up from your bootstraps, but it's about seeing your life from a higher perspective and then committing to the journey that it takes you on. So I wanted to actually go into a refresher, because when we talk about leading yourself, right? Leading yourself when no one is looking. What does that mean? Well, before we get to no one looking, I want to just go back to leading yourself. And it's not the quote only thing that Prepare to Go There is about, but it's a big thing and it's foundational. And I'm, just on, I guess, episode 9. So, I mean, this is still very, very fresh. I'm still figuring out things, still figuring out the tools and the tactics that I'm going to be using to communicate consistently and creatively with you. And so I'm figuring this out as I go, but I want to make sure that we are clear and that we're on the same footing as we go into some other more in-depth things. And so I'm going to give you some of my best content. I'm going to just skip the email opt-in. I'm going to share something that our email community has seen already. Maybe you're in the email community. You're one of the future friends. I look forward to meeting you and hearing what you're going for, where you see yourself, 6 months from now, 3 years from now. Come on, 10 years from now. Let's dream. Let's dream bigger. Let's go for it. What are we doing today? Because our future is waiting. And so the email community's seen this, heard this, but I think it's always a good refresher. This would be 5 myths. And what I'll do is actually just throw this on the screen if I can. So give me a moment. It would just be faster if I can get to this instead of trying to talk and all right. Boom. Are we on? Yeah. All right. Good. So let me dive in. Let's talk about this. This is one of my favorite blogs about leading yourself. The future won't pioneer itself, so prepare to 5 leadership myths and how to start immediately. It's no wonder why self-leadership doesn't spark standing ovations. Most people don't know what it is, let alone why it's important. Ironically, I couldn't even find the phrase self-leadership in the dictionary. So think of that. That's crazy. So to better appreciate this approach to life and leadership, here are 5 things that self-leadership is not. Number 1, self-leadership is not self-centered. Leading yourself well is far from vanity. It's motivated by a passion to be honorable and helpful. Yes, the drive is internal, which means you're practicing things like self-awareness and self-care and self-motivation. And that's simply because all of this has to start on the inside. However, that's not to say that you're being selfish. Leaders have the privilege and the responsibility of going first. The most powerful way anyone can lead is to lead by example. That's from Michael Hyatt. Number 2, self-leadership is not seasonal. Leading yourself well looks like a commitment to personal growth. It's easy to associate this with a certain time or season in your life when you were trained or you're going for something big, like college or trade school or ministry school. But here's the catch. When you lead yourself, you don't need a special reason to level up because now you're working on yourself all the time. See, we never graduate from the need to keep growing. I know we, quote, know this, but this is a good diagnostic tool when it feels like your rhythms are rattling due to a fast-paced lifestyle. Begin to ask yourself if you've accidentally excused yourself from the foundational habits that helped you take off in the first place. And that's so important, not to get lazy or lackadaisical because life is getting fast-paced, but continuing to do the fundamentals, the foundations. Craig Rochelle says, successful people do consistently what normal people just do occasionally. Number 3, self-leadership is not a solo sport. Yes, you are leading yourself because no one else should do that. Only you. At first, we are learning from trusted adults, but we never want to tolerate unhealthy codependencies that can sabotage our sense of empowerment. Having said that, now, leading yourself does not mean that you're now licensed to lead in isolation. Oh, well, I'm leading myself, so that means I'm leading all alone. No, it doesn't. See, I'm a big advocate for mentors and masterminds. When you're committed to bring your best, you look for the best to surround you and support you. The higher you go, the more value you'll invest into the people who empowered you to get there. Man, I like this African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. What are we on? Number 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Self-leadership is not a superpower. The reality is that there's no radioactive bug with self-leadership powers to bite you, because this is a skill. Self-leadership is something you can practice, something you can get better at. Anyone willing to commit to the process can too. You can become the best in your field. When I realized that leading myself was just a skill that I needed to improve, it began to take the pressure off of failing, and then it felt more like a game. I could gamify the experience into steps and stages, and then I could wrap my head around it. Now, not everyone is deemed a superhero, but anyone can get better at leading themselves. In fact, there's no limit to the level of empowerment that can hit your team, your network, or your movement. And that really does change the world. President Lincoln says, discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. And the last one, number 5, self-leadership is not secretive. Believe me, leading yourself well will speak for itself. Eventually, people will notice the difference in your confidence and in your competence. You may even take on some physical transformations along the way, like, getting in shape or healthier, whatever. But what's better than telling people about your transformation is showing them your transformation. Now go beyond that and now take people along the journey with you. Set an example while you are leading yourself. Authenticity will always be rewarded in the long run. Here's the Chinese proverb: the journey is the reward. So that is the 5 myths of self-leadership. And so now with that foundation, I want to get back to leading yourself when no one is looking. And you don't get there overnight, but there are some steps and some movements that you're going to have to take. You're going to have to move from where you are to where you can go. And the first one is leading yourself when no one is looking means you're going to start moving from feeling helpless to being helpful. Whenever you first get started, you start thinking, I can't do that. I can't do that. And so what you're doing is you're parked and you're waiting. You're waiting on someone else to help you. You're waiting on other people to do that for you. And this can come in a variety of shades. It may look like pride. It may look like pity. But really, if you just kind of pull off, all of the veneer, it's just helplessness. You don't feel up to the task because you don't feel confident enough. You don't feel competent enough. Maybe you don't have the right mindset. Maybe you don't have the right identity. The root issues are not really resolved. And so you kind of feel helpless. But as you go on this journey of leadership, leading yourself, leading others, leading through others, you realize that really, truly, Jesus got it right. He said the greatest is the servant of all. In other words, he wasn't saying that you have to have this sense of false humility and you kind of have to grovel in front of everybody and make sure that you're not really being prideful. See, confidence can be rooted in the right place. You can have real, lasting confidence, a kind of strength, a kind of honor that is admirable, that is good, that is virtuous. And somehow we kind of live in this culture today where to see anyone exhibit strength and to see anyone exhibit confidence, it's like, oh, well, something must be really, really wrong with them. They must be really inflated. They must really be on some high horse. And it's not that. It's that you just know who you are. And you know what you're here to do. And so you break away from helplessness, but you're not going to an extreme and saying, well, I'm not helpless. I'm just going to do everything for myself now. But you actually move into helpfulness. You say, hey, there was a point where I didn't know how to lead myself, but now I can lead myself so that way I can serve others better. Another transition or another movement you're going to make is when you move from feeling guilty to being grateful, leading yourself when no one is looking. I can't tell you how many times you may just feel guilty that you're not leading yourself well enough yet. You get on this journey and you say, dang it, man, I knew I should have, done that. I'm not living up to that standard that I know I should be. And you could think that this idea of leading yourself just means that you have to be perfect, that you have to have it all put together, that you should, basically present yourself like a finished product when you're still under construction. And so instead, you waste so much time, you waste so much energy, and you waste so many opportunities just kind of going through the guilt phase that you're not actually focused on the right things and you're not moving in. You're not taking action. You're not, charging into those gates. There's a verse in scripture. It says, we enter into his gates with thanksgiving. And if you want to transition into any gate, obviously, let's go into the Lord's kingdom. But within that context, you have to be grateful to move into a new place. And you're not going to be grateful until you have resolved the pain, the trauma, the drama, the bitterness, the unforgiveness of your past. And when you finally get to that place where you're at peace with you, like you have been healed up, and now you just have gratitude, either that you're past it, or that you're where you are, or that you lived through it, or that you can now serve others out of that. Then that gives you the green light. Gratitude gives you a green light to move into that new season, to move into that new identity, to move into that new opportunity, to move into that next phase, to move into those new relationships. And so many people are waiting on permission to move in, when really you can be leading yourself even when no one is looking. And somehow we get this weird feeling like, man, people are judging me, and people are watching me, and people are, inspecting and examining. And yeah, absolutely, we want to be an example to them, but we're not beholden to them. I love this quote. He or she, the people who live before the eyes of God, will never fear the lips of other people. When we live before the eyes of God, we will not fear the lips of people. So don't get so clogged up with this sense of guilt that you're not leading yourself well enough yet. And just start growing in gratitude, and let gratitude become the green light that helps you move forward into your future. I hope that helps. I know that was a little devotional in Prepare to Go there. The next movement I want to encourage you to take is to move from feeling exempt to becoming an example. I know I keep harping on that again and again. I'll just say it's foundational, but really it's true. So many times when you are leading yourself and you don't have people like really on you, and what I mean is they're not monitoring all your work, or they're not with you all the time, they're not actively checking in, checking up on you. Maybe you're in that situation. Maybe you're out of the house, you're out of school now, you're out of college, or your job allows you to have a little more flexibility. And in one way or another, we begin to give ourselves exemptions. You know what I mean? We say, well, it doesn't matter anymore. I can do that. I can go there. I can watch that. I can be in that setting. It won't matter. I'm exempt. But are you really? And so instead of feeling like you're the exemption, that you're above the law, that you're not accountable for anything or to anyone, you have to change your mindset and say, even when no one is looking, I'm still being an example. I'm still trying and trusting that the way I live is going to have a positive ripple effect on my relationships. Another movement I want you to make is to move from feeling stressed and to start getting strategic. You've got to get out of the stress and start exerting some strategy, start building some strategic intelligence. Because when you are leading yourself and no one's looking, you don't really know how to handle all of the complexities and all of the nuances of the situation you're in. And so, yeah, you're thankful that people aren't, interrupting you and calling on you and checking on you. You're like, yeah, I have freedom now. Look, I'm out here in the future frontier. I'm thinking about this. I'm talking about this. I'm working on this. But now you're not going to get that emotional affirmation every time you need it, or you may not be able to. I mean, yeah, you could call some customer support, you could Google something, YouTube something, but I mean, what do you do when you're really on your own? The responsibility really starts to weigh in on you. You're taking these steps and you're no longer helpless. You want to be helpful. You're not going to feel guilty about, not being perfect right away. You live out of a new perfection. You live out of your identity, and thankfully, because of the gospel, now you're living in gratitude. And so now you're not trying to live like some exception, but you want to leave an example. And so now you put your hands to the work and it's not working. What do you do then? How are you going to handle that? And you can't delegate your problems on other people. And if you do, I mean, it'll last for a little bit, but honestly, they don't want you to delegate problems. They want you to delegate a process that you have gone through, a process that you have figured out. You're pioneering a new and better way that they can follow along with and join you in. So when you feel stressed, how are you going to get some sort of release valve, get rid of all of the emotional toxicity, and just start thinking clearly again? And, stay clear-headed. Don't fall apart, and get strategic and say, okay, man, I can figure this out. I'm sharp. I got to where I am now. I'm still here and I'm still moving forward. And you get strategic. You have to have that strategic edge if you're going to lead yourself. The next one that I want to talk about is the movement from really your motive. Why are you leading yourself? Are you leading yourself because you just feel lonely and you're like, well, no one's here for me, so I'm just going to do it myself? Or do you really want to be a leader for other people? And when you go on this leadership journey, leading yourself, leading others, leading through others, it's gonna challenge you, and it's designed to, because leadership pulls whatever's inside of you out into the world. So that's why leadership is so important to work, that we're working on the inner world, that the inner world is working, that the inner world is healthy, because leadership goes into all kinds of places in the person, in the leader, and pulls all that stuff out, and then it gets magnified and it gets multiplied into whoever they're leading, whatever they're leading. And a lot of times, even leaders that can be surrounded by teams of people or communities or movements, they're lonely. They're actually lonely. Like, you can be in a room full of people or on a Zoom full of people and still be very, very lonely. And it sounds weird, but it's true. And so to lead yourself when no one is looking means you're not going to live with that motive of loneliness, and you're not going to use this or really abuse this powerful tool, this powerful lifestyle approach, and just kind of cope with this sense of loneliness. But you realize that leading yourself when no one is looking means that you are taking on the giant of loneliness and you're going to take it down, and you're going to find your peace, and you're going to step up, and you're going to be a leader. And you realize that you're not just trying to get away from people by doing this, but you're actually moving closer and closer towards people by doing this. You see what I'm saying? And there's a huge element of character building and integrity and preparation that comes into all of this, because you don't want to charge a hill and then get to the top of that hill and then realize that everyone, around you, they're not celebrating you. They're not, they don't want to be around you. They're afraid of you, or they're disgusted by you, or they don't get you. And you're looking around, you're like, what? I deserve this. I earned this. Where's my accolades? Where's my trophies? Where are my, my rewards? And it's not about where you end up. It's about how you got there and about how you treated people on your way there. And if you're just kind of rooted in this loneliness, you're just going to feed that need, and you're going to justify a lot of brokenness along the way while you're trying to build something. But I heard this quote: I want to be respected the most by the people who know me the most. And that's a tall order, because, when you're up close, you see everything. It's easy to impress people at a distance. It's easy to lead people at a distance. It's easy to, be a big person on a big screen. But what about face to face? So do not sabotage your future by sacrificing your integrity along the way. Don't do it. And that's quotable. I kind of forgot it already, so I hope you caught it. Scroll back. Watch it again. All right, the last one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 6. Leading yourself when no one's looking. Be willing to move from feeling forgotten to being focused. When you lead yourself when no one's looking, literally, no one's checking up on you, and you can feel alone, right? We talked about that with the loneliness piece. And you kind of feel forgotten, and all the stuff you're working on. You wonder if anybody sees it. I really relate and empathize with the creatives out there. There's a lot of creatives, and man, they're wondering, does anybody see my stuff? Does anybody care? I mean, I know it's going out there into the digital sea, but do people really see me in the process? And you feel forgotten, but you're going to have to get through that. You can't stay there. You can't get stuck there. You got to be okay and be like, you know what? People aren't paying attention to me right now, and that is okay. People, they may honestly have forgotten about me, and that's okay. You're like, wow, this is really personal. Peter just needs therapy. I'm not saying that. I'm here to encourage you, because I am very content to continue, because I made a choice. I'm going to keep contending, and I'm here to find a few other pioneers that need to hear this message, that what is inside of you has to come out, and it will come out one way or another. And so you're going to have to be okay by feeling or even being forgotten for a while, So that way you can do your whole, Bruce Wayne thing and go off grid for a while and come back as, Batman. Like, everybody has to go through some sort of process, some sort of training, some sort of leveling up. I mean, that's what makes the aha moment. That's what makes the transformation so strong and apparent and real. It's like people, they really just kind of lose track of time because their lives are already so busy and fast paced. And so really it's not that it feels like they haven't seen you in a while. It kind of feels like yesterday because time's kind of weird in that way. And it's like, oh, wow, I haven't seen you in a while. And then they look at you, or maybe they're like, oh, wow, man, they don't look so good. Man, what happened? You don't have to be that way. You could say, hey, while you were forgetting me, I was remembering the future. While you forgot about me, I was leveling up. While you forgot about me, I was changing my own game. While you forgot about me, I was still growing. I was still going. I didn't need your attention to make massive progress in my life. And I'm not doing this in spite of anybody. I'm not going to lead myself just because, oh, well, I'm going to show them and I'm going to revenge. Count of Monte Cristo is still like one of the coolest movies because it's kind of got an edge, a strategic edge to it. He's planning it out. But this is not some big revenge game on all of your high school friends, that hazed you or that just kind of pushed you off. This is not about, coming back on LinkedIn with a bang, This is about not wasting time and not procrastinating with the wrong impression. Oh, well, I'm just trying to stay in front of people. Why? Because I need them. Why? Because I don't want to be forgotten. Well, don't. And it's going to be okay. I think about so many examples of this, but I digress. All right. So move from feeling helpless to being helpful. Move away from feeling guilty that you're not leading yourself as much as you should or as good as you could. And just start being grateful. Just practice gratitude. Definitely move away from feeling exempt from the rules of life. And don't get discouraged. Don't get distracted. Don't get disqualified. But start living and leading like you are an example. Move away from feeling stressed with new pressures and little support, and use that as an opportunity to start really getting strategic about where you want to go and how you're going to get there. Move away from feeling lonely and just using this as a cover for loneliness, but use this as an opportunity to step up and lead others and serve others when they need it. And then move away from feeling forgotten and just stay focused. Now, let's take a field trip into your future because that's where you're heading. So you better prepare to go there. And I want you to imagine yourself really leading yourself. I mean, not just coping, not just hoping, but really leading yourself well when no one's looking. And man, you're staying grounded, you're staying healthy, you're still growing, you're staying focused, you're leveling up, you're making massive progress. Imagine what that will feel like. And you say, well, I don't even know. Well, remember the opposite. Remember what it was like when you were discouraged, and when you were distracted, and remember what it was like when you were being micromanaged and smothered, and you're like, I don't want to live this way. I gotta find a different way, a better way. And you say, you know what? I think I could find it, and if I find it, I think I can help others with it too. I want you to think about what is at stake. What is at stake is that you really could do all of this great fun, exterior stuff and still be rotting on the inside and get robbed from the joy and the reward of all that time and effort you put into it because your lifestyle was a facade. It was hollow. Man, don't do that. Don't compromise. Don't compromise. Don't sabotage your future by sacrificing your integrity along the way. And then consider what's possible. I really believe if we will learn how to lead ourselves when no one is looking, we will be able to step up and to show up ready when it matters the most. I want to really thank you for being on this coaching journey. And I just believe if we will keep talking about where we're going, who we're becoming, and the practical steps we can take, then we will make a difference, go the distance. And it doesn't happen overnight, but it can happen. And that's why I want to keep you encouraged. Tomorrow, week 2 is quickly approaching for Prepare to Go There. Tomorrow, we're coming back with another round of Future Friday. So glad it's Future Friday. And we're just going to, I don't know, we'll see what happens. And Future Friday is the time we set aside to work practically on the future. Now, I'm talking about personal preparation and leading yourself, and we'll get into some productivity and some other fun areas later. But for me, in my own work schedule, workflow, Friday's that day where I actually get to carve out time, and it's my off day, so to speak. But I get to get away so I can get ahead, and so Friday is one of those days where I can do some of those future tense projects. And man, I've got 2 major projects that I am so excited about. One is for our church community, and the other is for this online community. And I cannot wait to get back into those projects and just kind of get lost, so that way I can come back with something to give. And please, just if you think of it, please say a prayer for me as I'm trying to make progress like everybody else, and know that what you're doing matters and what you're doing is making a difference. And so don't ever take your journey for granted, but just keep your head up, keep looking out, and keep going, keep growing. It makes a big difference. Thank you for doing this here with me. And I want to invite you, join the email community, jump into the Future Friends, working on some projects that are going to be directly for you. And so when these online courses come out, I want you to get that info first. You're going to be getting incentives that are available only to the email community. And I'm just excited about having fun with this and making it 1% better every time. And really just seeing how far we can go together in this way. So you guys, y'all keep me going. I appreciate all of your feedback, all of your encouragement. I hope that just having a conversation like this keeps you fired up, helps you keep your future on the front burner. And where you're going is so big. I mean, you're going places for sure. And that's why you have to prepare to go there. Let me go out. I'm going to play my cool little outro I made for you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.